This is the fish that everyone is taking care of at least once. This is also the fish that a lot of people start out with. And this is also the fish that everyone's grandmother has in front of their house in a pot, just chilling in the sun. When you go to her house, the first thing that will greet you would be her fish. This is the humble guppy. So guppies are a lot of people's first fish, and they give a lot of people their first success in fish. It's because they're very hardy. They don't really care about all the different kinds of water parameters. They can handle a lot of temperature fluctuations. So a lot of people get their success from guppies and then transition to other fish. There's just a lot of colors of guppies for lots of different tastes. You have like full black ones, like the ones behind me, and then over here you have like almost like a yellowish body but like blue specks and a red tail. Green bodies, yellow bodies, reds, blues, all kinds of colors you can get in guppies, and for all kinds of people. One of the other things that make people so attracted to guppies is how easy they can make them breed. So you can get one male guppy and a female, you'll instantly get babies. How? It's because this species, they're considered live bearers, or if you're amongst the reptile lovers in the audience, ovoviviparous. The babies essentially hatch inside the female's stomach, and then they get released once they're big enough. So how to tell whether a guppy is a male is that you look at the body. So the body needs to be really, really pretty, and then the tail also needs to be like the prettiest part of the fish. That's a really easy way to spot it out. The other way is that if you look at the anal fin, so that's a fin that's like under like the tail, it has to be of a sharp point. There's two of them, pointing backwards into the anus past the tail. So a female guppy is pretty simple. The body doesn't look as pretty. The tail has some coloration, it's still going to be somewhat dull. It's never going to be as colorful as the male, depending on the variety, of course. When you look at the anal fin in comparison to the male, the anal fin of the female is a little bit more fanned out. So the males are always having it straight. The females always have it like a little bit outwards. Yeah, it's quite a characteristic between all live bearer type fish. Guppies, feeding them is also really, really simple. Any kind of like small flake food or small pellet would work. So down here I have some examples of like food. If you look here, very, very small very small pellets. These are pelleted foods, right? Right. And then we also have flake foods. Now flake foods, usually they'll come a little bit larger, but to get them small enough for like a guppy so that they don't choke, let's say, there's no worries. Even if like with flakes, actually they won't actually choke because they get softer in the water. So what you do is like you kind of like crush them up a little bit here, and you crush them up into like a fine powder, and then yeah, even the bigger bits will be able to be swallowed up by a guppy, so you shouldn't be really worried. But here you go. So one thing to note when you're feeding your guppies is that they are omnivorous. So it'll be good to have, when you get the food, a kind that's mixed with algae or like spirulina, or also a little bit of like protein based as well. So that's why I always recommend getting flakes and pellets, because usually flakes are a little bit more algae based and pellets are a little bit more meaty protein based. So now, where do we put those guppies, eh? So one of the things that a lot of people do is that they take a pot, they make a little pond without any movement or filtration, just put it outside in front of the house, and that's perfectly fine. Make sure you have some plants in there, either under the water or like on top of it, so that they will filter the water out. Let's say you want to do something similar in your own place, inside the house, in glass, let's say. So you can put it in here. But what you'll notice is that the water gets dirty rather quickly due to like a lot of like the waste being created by the fish itself. And then you have to like clean the aquarium much more often. So it's not my preferred method, but if you want to do something like this, with some water, no filtration or whatever, just having the water being taken out more frequently, then by all means. Me personally, I prefer a more traditional method of keeping your guppy, of keeping any fish essentially. You need to have some light and a filter. Any kind of filter would do. For the most simplest of beginners, use a hang on the back filter. It'll do everything that you need for your guppies. So why I personally like hang on the back filters for guppies, especially if you can like adjust the flow a bit, is that if you look over here, like you look at the kinds of fish that you have inside here, the water flow, there is some, but there's not a lot. That's because guppies, they're not made for fast flowing water. You want something that goes slow. You want something that's not essentially stagnant, but it moves the water a minuscule amount. We're not making a river here, just a pond with a little bit of a waterfall. So before you get your guppies in, of course, you need to make sure that the water is safe for your fish. So you've got to make sure you have your anti-chlorine ready and you have some beneficial bacteria. This is to make sure that you have no chlorine inside your tap water, because we live in Malaysia, we only have chlorine. So this will be perfect. And then you got to make sure that you have beneficial bacteria to change that ammonia from your fish, from the fish waste, into safer materials. Editor, please put the whole nitrogen cycle in front of me. Right, so if you see here, you have nitrites and you have nitrates. When you have up a lot of nitrates, you're safe. The bacteria is going to take the ammonia and they take the nitrites and turn it into nitrates. That's why you need the beneficial bacteria. A little bit of an advanced tip if you really want to optimize your guppies' growth and health, and also their breeding especially, is that you look at the hardness of the water for your guppies, right? How can you tell the hardness? You get a test like this. This is a hardness test. You want to look at the GH, which is general hardness. So guppies have a general hardness of 8 to 12 DGH, right? So you use this in conjunction with a host of minerals. This is a general mineral supplement. And this one over here increases GH. So with general hardness, you might be able to be more successful in the number of, let's say, fish fry, the baby fish will be growing, and also the coloration of the fish should be able to improve as well. And that's essentially all you need to know about guppies. But if you'd like to know how to set up your own aquarium and also the aquascape on the inside potentially, we have a video for that. Stay tuned and I'll see you there.